Good evening, Highlander football family. This is Coach Roden. Coming from from my classroom, I will tell you this is the first time I've ever done a banquet off a note card and looking at a computer screen. More than slightly awkward for all of us, for the kids, for the coaches, parents as well. The banquet is supposed to be a celebration of our seniors and a celebration of the season. And like everything this year, COVID has, I'm not going to say ruined it, because we had a successful season. We had a great experience, and very proud of what the kids accomplished this year as far as, working to improve a program that had some flaws. So you're going to see that we're going to do our best throughout the video to really highlight seniors, talk about the awards. Typically, even with our banquets in person, we don't talk a lot individually about underclassmen. Really, again, as I mentioned before, banquets are, in my personal opinion, a celebration of our seniors. And, again, it's supposed to be a time where we celebrate and recognize those that have put in the 4 years and the time to leave their legacy here at Oak Hills. I want you to also be patient with us. Some of our coaches are not blessed with skills behind a video camera. And as I'm again mentioned earlier, it's a bit awkward doing this and talking to yourself. So as we stumble through some things, as we, make mistakes, please know that nothing said in the videos is meant to be malicious or in any way meant to disrespect your child. It's probably more of a coach awkwardly, stuttering through some notes or not clearly trying to get their point across. So just bear with us and be patient. That being said, as I kind of get going with my personal agenda here in the first part of the video, I want to begin by recognizing, like I do in every banquet, 20 years. I learned that from my first boss, Carrie Combs, that, we have to celebrate our wives for the people that put up with us, that help us to be the best coaches that we can be, the best teachers that we can be, and the best mentors we can be. And in order to do all those things, to give our best to your kids and those young men, means we have to sacrifice time from our own families. So I'm going to personally embarrass my wife, Jennifer, and publicly thank her for her time, sacrifice, and all the things that she does to tolerate me and to to provide for our family. And then again, thank you to all the coaches' wives for everything that they do for the program and for supporting their husbands. Very much appreciative. As most of you guys know, me personally, I relocated from Indianapolis after 2 years, and I've been through a lot. I lost my grandma here a few months ago from COVID, and, my mom is battling cancer and yada, yada, yada. Just a lot going on. So I need to make sure I also thank everybody within this program for making me welcome, for helping me through the transition, and all my years of coaching, I can't recall ever being, sick enough to miss a game on a Friday night, and to have some of the circumstances that I had arise this year. It's very humbling. And again, I'm very appreciative of everyone within the program making my transition here a very positive one, and one that's left me with a taste for where we can take this program, and where we're going and moving in the right direction. So after our wives, it's important for me to recognize our administration here at Oak Hills. Our superintendent, Jeff Brandt, Principal Travis Hunt, all the vice principals, our athletic department, Ben Hageman, our AD for taking a chance. I'd say taking a chance on me, but giving me the opportunity here to work at Oak Hills and all the things that he's done for us, and Coach Price and our athletic secretary Karen Swanger for all her efforts. With the paperwork and all the things that aren't fun. So we're appreciative of that. Also want to thank Kyle Prosser. Kyle and I have been friends for a long time. And when you take over a program from a friend, there's usually a bit of awkwardness, and sometimes it can be confrontational. But Kyle has been great, and always very appreciative of the Prosser family. I consider all the Prossers friends, and so I definitely thank Kyle for all his help in making this work. But all that works with our administration, and they've done a great job in helping this program. I also have to thank our maintenance staff. As most of you parents know, cleaning up after teenage boys is not an easy chore. So all of our custodial staff, our maintenance staff, those that work around the grounds here, cutting the grass and lining the fields, the people that we don't always, recognize, very much want to thank them and recognize all their efforts for what they do for the school and the athletic program, particularly football. I do need to thank some of our parents that have, stepped up this year. And talking about those parents, we had some parents in particular step up with, water bottles and help organizing, food for Friday night and snacks for the boys. And all the protocols this year, Friday night meals were very complicated. Just simple things that over the years have taken for granted were much more of a challenge. So need to thank, the Schaefer family, the Toon family, Sedlak and Wallace family for all their efforts. And I'm sure there are other families that, gave their time, energy to support the program. And I apologize for not mentioning all of you, but those in particular for your efforts on Friday night meals and some of the things that you do to help make my job easier and to give more to the boys. And then I'll mention that now that I'm settled in here, and kind of been here for a year now, I'm going to make our parent group kind of got torpedoed by the fact that we couldn't really be together. But I have some things that will be heading your way. And so if you're looking to get involved and to volunteer, that information will be coming soon. Also want to make sure I thank the Oak Hills Boosters. The boosters do a great deal for us, and that they support all the Oak Hills athletics, whether it's the stag or the golf outing, things of that nature. It's important that I make sure I thank them for all they do for us and the kids. And if you have a chance to take part in any of the booster activities, I strongly encourage that, and obviously to join the booster organization. I need to thank the Little Highlanders. The Little Highlanders are probably the most important group for supporting us because those little guys grow up to be the guys that play for me and the coaches here in the high school and all the members of the Little Highlander program. And I'm not just talking about the coaches, but I'm talking about the team moms, and I'm talking about the parents that make their experience with football a positive one. And I'll publicly say that the Little Highlander program, in my opinion, does a great job. One that continues to set the bar on how youth programs should operate. And when I left here years ago, there was a bit of, I'm going to just call it controversy, because we had different organizations and not everyone fully understood what the youth program was here in Oak Hills. And so for me, having the Little Highlanders as our main football program and source of development for future years is refreshing. So, Ralph, our president, and I say Ralph has been one of our bigger supporters, but all the administration of the Little Highlanders, I want to make sure that I thank you guys. Also want to thank Shane Souders, the middle school coaches. One of the first things I had to do when I took this job was to address some issues or questions with the middle school program. And, Shane Souders, in my opinion, this year did a great job keeping that organized. It's hard to be an athletic director and a coach, and especially with the football program, and, have a son playing football at a different school in a different district and give the time and effort that he does. And, he's another individual that's had a very challenging 2020, and I'm very appreciative of all the work that Shane does. And the same thing with Jonathan Sweet with our 7th grade The programs on the win column both were much improved. I know in the eighth grade did a great job this year, kind of meshing together after a year kind of being separated. And the seventh grade season this year was nothing but outstanding. So I thank the middle school coaches and all their time and efforts, and challenge those middle schoolers to continue to build and grow, and to bring, the expectation to win here to the high school. And we win at the youth level, and we've had some success at the middle school level, and that needs to continue at the high school. So it's important that I thank those groups. Also want to thank our cheerleaders, Mindy Shea, Sarah Dillman, Leah Faki, our cheerleaders, kind of unsung heroes supporting us each week, and I greatly appreciate their support. I want to make sure I thank Mr. McMasters, Mr. Krause, for their video efforts. Videoing on Friday night is crazy now. With instant replay from multiple angles, from a wide angle, a tight angle, an end zone angle. Having the video is so important in regard to the preparation of the team, and important for recruiting. So, and it's not easy to use that technology. I'd be the first person to tell you that I'm not technologically blessed when it comes to those resources. But a big thank you to those guys that are involved with that. And, I want to encourage, parents that, feel like they can help with the filming of maybe the JV next season, or, maybe an incoming freshman parent that would like to be involved with that. We're always looking for help in the video department. Also want to thank Mr. Martin, our stat guy in the box. He's got some support up there helping him with spotting, and again, doing stats in high school football is a challenge, but also very critical. And, you would be surprised how much grief Mr. Martin takes when he makes a mistake about whose interception or whose tackle that was. And another one of those selfless jobs. And, we're not paying Mr. Martin to do that. So I'm very appreciative of his efforts, and thank him. Need to thank our strength guys. I know Natalie's not with us anymore, but Natalie did a great job working with Coach Proctor and then Coach Lane at the end of the year. Strength here is a extremely important piece, something that we're trying to continually develop in an area to grow. Coach Lane and Coach Lewis really now are at the forefront of our strength program, along with our football staff. But those that were involved with it, Natalie and Jake, you noticed, I hope you noticed that our injuries were down this year. We had a couple of knee injuries in the linebacker spot, but I felt like as a whole, and from what I've gathered from years past, injuries this year were definitely down, and we're going to continue to make that a point of focus in the weight room, and continue to improve our equipment and safety protocols. You notice this year all the offensive linemen were mandated to wear knee braces. We bought a ton of ankle braces to keep the kids in, just for preventative reasons. And we're going to continue to grow in that area, because if we can control and prevent injuries, that gives this program a chance to be more successful on Friday. So that leads me to thanking our training staff, to Ron and Katie. In Katie's case, being pregnant and having to come in here early in the summer, very appreciative of Ron again. Being in charge of an athletic program, and, we don't have a massive training space, and, lots of time, and it's not an easy thing to do. I know sometimes people can be critical of trainers at every school, and, diagnosing injuries is not easy. And, but I am very appreciative of the time and effort and sacrifices that both Ron and Katie have put in the program, and continue to thank them. Also, will thank Beacon. I've been, part of Beacon for a long time. I've my own children have been hurt. My son got hurt this past year in soccer, and Dr. Argo and his staff have always been great to me. And I will tell you that I've had a few surgeries on my knees and shoulders over the years, and Dr. Argo and the people within Beacon have been good to me. Now, and again, I know everybody is not a fan of maybe necessarily Beacon, and has their own preferences with that. But I will say about Beacon, they do spend a lot of money, and they do support the community high schools around here, especially on the west side. So I will thank Dr. Argo and Joe and all those guys over at Beacon offices, and continue to appreciate their support. So I've thanked a lot of people. Probably forgot a few, and I'm sorry. again, I try to write a few note cards to myself so I didn't forget anything. And you've probably heard noises going off in the classroom because the end of the day is going off, and I got a heater in my room that sounds like a junk car getting ready to start. But my next responsibility here is to just have a brief overview of the season, and then I'll let the defensive staff kind of talk a little bit, including Coach Elrod. I am a person that has been um, with a number of successful programs, and in the last couple of years, um, I got a chance to be on the other side of some things. And so when you lose, it makes you reevaluate what you're doing and makes you even hungrier to strive to improve. My first year here at OHHS High School back in 2006, we were 6-4. We were 6-3 going into the Coleraine game and playing for a piece of the GMC championship. We lost that game, and I remember how angry and bitter I was about being 6-4. And I just, in coming here, I believe that we can get to that place where we can win. We can win championships. And I know there's detractors, and I know that there's lots of variables that are trying to say, hey, you can't win at Oak Hills because you got to fight, kids choosing to go to parochial schools, and you got to fight this factor and that factor. And I'll be honest with you, anywhere you go, you have those things that make it a challenge. And I think for us as a staff, we're committed to doing that. We're committed to trying to find ways to win, and we're committed to growing this program. And I will reverse that onto you guys, that in order to be a program that goes from here to up here, it requires sacrifice from the parents. It requires even more sacrifice from the kids. It's not just a matter of, hey, we just start winning. It's a process. So everybody's got to kind of work to put in that, that extra time, and we're going to do that. And so if you can continue to support us and you can continue to make those sacrifices, then I feel strongly about where we're going. This season, we didn't win as many games as we wanted to. I look back at the Milford game and kind of, kick myself a little bit, but then I remember that we traveled on a bus for an hour. We didn't have a locker room. Kids were going to the bathroom in a porta potty. We had halftime with a band playing in our ear, and somehow we still, we're up by 2 scores and had a young, inexperienced team that just didn't quite know how to win. And I think that's kind of a metaphor for where we were at. We have some talent in our program, and we battled, especially early on in the season, against some very quality programs. And then when we had some kids go down, with a few injuries and then the COVID protocols, it really hurt us. And, the Princeton game is probably the one game the entire season where I was, I'm going to say the word disgusted, because I felt like that we had really improved, and we took a step back that night. And when I say us, I mean coaching wise, player wise, just as a whole, because we were so beat up that we felt bad for ourselves, and we got off a bus and we took a butt whipping because we just didn't feel like we could win, and that's not what good programs do. And we got to fight through that portion of self-doubt and keep working to improve. I will say that, once we moved past the Princeton loss and we finished those back 3 games, the Harrison game was fun. Getting a chance to win, and the Middletown game, if you were there, was a bit of a circus, but when I say a circus, I meant there was lots of penalties and lots of personal fouls and lots of, opportunities for our kids to demonstrate poor character. And man, I don't know if we had a personal foul in the Middletown game. We responded well with maturity, came back and, like I said, beat up on Harrison. And if not for a bad call at the very end in the Walnut Hills game, would have finished the season with 3 straight wins. And some people joke that technically we consider that last game a win. We do not. We never blame the referee, but I will say that we were out even more players that last week, and it was another awkward situation playing at a foreign location. And I just felt like our kids handled it well. And again, another one of those moments where, we lose a game when we're winning, and our kids just don't quite know how to finish. And I think that's something that a year together, knowing the offense, becoming more familiar with each other, and the expectation of the coaches, that a great deal of excitement can be built off those last few games. So we will return. We're going to make a few changes within the staff, but for the most part, everything stays the same. The offense stays the same. The defense stays the same. We're going to throw it throughout the summer and throughout the winter. We're going to get better with those schemes. We have a great deal of guys coming back in the skill position area. We're going to get stronger up front on the offensive line. Obviously we lost some great players. Off this senior class, and that's going to be hard to replace because a lot of those guys were, players have been playing for 4 years. But I'm excited about the direction the program is going, and I'm 100% appreciative of the seniors. And at the back end of the banquet, I'll talk about the seniors a little bit and their value to us. So that being said, the next portion of our banquet will be done by Tyler Elrod. Coach Elrod's our defense coordinator. Coach Elrod was actually a young man that played for Harrison High School. I recruited him to play for me at the College of Mount St. Joseph. Tyler coached for, I believe, a year or two at Milford, and then I convinced him to come out and coach at East Central. He was my defensive coordinator. He won a state championship with us in 2017. He then went over to LaSalle High School, where he coached with my brother. I don't like to listen to that LaSalle stuff, but yeah, I do. My brother is over there. Tyler did get a chance to win a state championship again with the Lancers, and it's a big reason why their defensive backs have become, as good as anybody's in the state of Ohio. So Tyler's got a couple of rings and done a fantastic job. And, like all of us this year, Tyler had some moments where, he was experiencing, I don't say failure, but, things not always going 100% as planned. But Tyler is a young coach, ambitious coach, hardworking coach, and wants the best from your kids as much as possible, and is competitive. And so I think that's the standard of this program. We all want to win, and we all want to experience success. And so if we can get that effort and that continued drive, then I'm excited about where we're going on the defensive side of the ball. With that being said, I'd like to introduce you to Tyler Elrod.
All right, we're gonna do this in one take, so you get to the authentic banquet experience of me talking. So, 2020 defensive overview. First off, I'd like to thank Coach Roden for the opportunity to come to Oak Hills and join this staff and be part of something special with a special group of players and coaches. Also like to thank the defensive coaches, Coach Dransman, Coach Lewis, and Coach Bierman. Great group of guys to work with. A lot of no egos, a lot collaborative effort amongst all of us to put together the game plan and execute it. Any input from all those guys was much appreciated, and we couldn't have done this without each other. So great group. Really enjoyed working with all those guys, and it was a fun year, fun group of guys to work with. Last but definitely not least, like to thank the seniors. New guy coming in, not really knowing anybody, just seniors buying in and really taking to the new staff and just, it's not easy for a new coach to come in your senior year. There was some similarities in the defense, but there was some differences too. Jumped right in, bought in, and finished out their senior year with great effort and enthusiasm for the Oak Hills football program. Next, we got just kind of a rundown of everything. Off season, coming in. Like I said, not really knowing the kids or anything like that. and then COVID hit. So we started developing that relationship, and then we got shut down. So that forced a crash course in the summer. Threw a lot at the guys, and they responded. So some of the guys on defense, I didn't even have a chance to meet until we started summer workouts because they were playing other sports, and then we got shut down. So it was a learning curve for everybody. But I think the way that us as a staff and the team and everybody, seniors, the way we handled it, I couldn't have been happier with that. Like I said, it was a crash course. It was quick, fast pace, putting everything in. I'm really looking forward to this upcoming off season being a little more normal. Hopefully next year I'm not doing a recording in my classroom for the banquet. So move into the season. Obviously we didn't have a scrimmage, so we didn't really know what to expect, what we were getting into. We played Milford, saw a lot of good things, forced a lot of turnovers, played really tough. Obviously, tough loss, didn't quite make enough plays to pull it out. But you saw there was something brewing, something the guys, you could tell things were trending in the right direction. The next two games, Coleraine and Mason, didn't really know what we were getting into in terms of coming off a tough loss to Milford, how this team would respond, how the defense would respond. And those two games to me, it showed the heart and the character of this group. We were outmatched physically, but the kids bought in to what we were trying to do, what we wanted to execute, and we played both of those teams extremely tough, made them earn everything, and that's something that I was very proud of the way we played in those two games, with everything going on and coming off a tough loss. Following those two games, injuries kind of started mounting up, got banged up, kind of forced some younger guys into action, maybe before they were ready. But it was a next man up mentality, and they continued to progress and get better and better. I say it wasn't always pretty. You see me on the sideline losing my mind occasionally, but it was a learning experience for some of those guys, and I hope moving forward, I mentioned it to the defense multiple times. Everyone in that room is going to be counted on at some point. It's football, injuries happen, so it's important that moving forward, just because you're not the starter, you're one play away from being the starter. So that was a good lesson learned through those stretch of games. Guys having to step up, mixing and matching personnel, and just really getting their feet wet, playing varsity football. And then we get to Middletown. Again, it was one of those deals where we felt good going into the game. Their running back, special player, but we had a good plan. And then, in true 2020 fashion, we lost 3 corners in a 24-hour period, whether that be from quarantining from school or getting injured in the game, from the end of practice Wednesday to halftime of the game on Friday. We lost 3 corners, but the thing about this group is we had to make some adjustments that we might not have practiced because circumstances. And we made those adjustments, and they went with it on the fly. It was seamless, and it as a coaching staff. I don't want to speak for anybody else, but as a coaching staff, it was very impressive for those guys to step up and make those adjustments that maybe we hadn't repped in practice, but then go out and in the bright lights against a special running back, special receivers, and execute the way we did. And we always talk about finishing in that game. That was a stepping stone in the right direction of showing that we have learned how to finish games. Harrison, we started, the younger guys started to come into their own. Like I said, there was that stretch in the middle of the season where maybe guys were playing and they weren't ready for one reason or another. They weren't physically ready, or maybe they weren't into the playbook as much as they should because they weren't expecting to play. But by that point, they really started coming into their own, stepping up, making plays, and playing with confidence. That's the big thing I take away from the Harrison game. We played a really good game defensively, made a lot of plays. Even with the weather, it moving to Saturday, we handled that as well as anyone could have hoped for, and came out with the W there. Walnut Hills, it was a tough, hard-fought game. Obviously, the outcome wasn't what we expected or wanted, but it was a good showing by some of our guys. And I have written down here that we didn't make the plays to end the game that we needed to make. We ended it. We made a good play, but it didn't count. So I'm just gonna leave it there. That one still hurts. But I'm really proud of the way the guys responded, and then they fought. That's all you can ask for as a coach is your guys playing hard for you. All in all, very proud of this team. You can tell that it matters to them. And the seniors, we talked a lot about leaving your legacy. And then in this class has laid a great foundation for what we're trying to build here. I love this group. I love this senior class. They're a bunch of great guys. They're great. Some of the younger guys on the team, great role models for them to aspire to be. But like I said, I really appreciate that group for buying into a new staff, a new set of personalities, and just it's refreshing to be at a place where a group steps up and wants to get it done. Whether no matter what you're asking them to do, if you want them to, a guy, if I want him to, hey, I think you'd be good at D-line. Yes, sir, I'll play D-line. I think you'd be great moving from safety to linebacker. All right, whatever the team needs. It was a fun group to coach, a bunch of good guys. And then last thing I got for you is seniors, don't be a stranger. You all have my number. Call whatever you need. I'll miss you guys. Hope to see you around. Like I said, it's a shame that we got to do this, that I'm talking to a computer in my classroom, but it's the times we're in right now. But like I said, I appreciate everything you guys have done for this program, all the relationships that we've built over this season. But like I said, don't be a stranger. You're my guys. You're my guys forever. So, like I said, I hope to see you around, and I guess we'll talk soon. All right, next up we have the linebackers. A lot of talent in this group. A lot of guys that are play really hard and are leaders within their class. A lot of young guys got a taste of varsity playing time. So the future of this group is bright. First up, we'll start off with Wyatt Ferguson, sophomore. Sophomore Keith Willis, sophomore Luke Barkley, and sophomore Jared Richmond. For the juniors, we got Andrew Kraus and Antonio Bacino. And then for the seniors, we have Matthew Fulton, one of the leaders on our defense this year. Played some inside and outside linebacker. Was one of the top tacklers at one point in time. Top leading tacklers for loss in the conference. Unfortunately, had a season-ending knee injury during the Lakota East game. Losing him was a big blow to our defense. It got better and better each week, and was really a pleasure to coach this year. Next up, we have Tyler Jones. He's kind of the rock in the middle of our defense. By the end of the year, I could call him a coach on the field. Made all the calls, got people lined up. Was coming over to the sideline with I'm noticing this. What do you think about this? When he went down against Mason with a knee injury, that was those games that we didn't have him were tough. It was kind of eye-opening how much our defense counted on not only his play but his leadership. And again, just another great guy who was a pleasure to coach. Next up, we have Nathan Parsley, guy that might not have played as much as he wanted to, but his want to be a good football player, his want to do whatever it took for whatever the team needed him to do. He always asked me after practice, could you draw this up for me? What do you think about this? What can I get better at? And I love that. The guys that have a desire to get better and come every day ready to go. It's a pleasure to coach guys like that. He was a good role model for the younger guys. Got in and mixed it up a little bit with the older guys and held his own. He looked pretty good. He's new to football. I think this is either his first or second year playing, he said. But again, when a guy has a desire to get better, it makes it easy to come to work every day. Next up, we have Matthew Hodges. He thinks he's Arnold Schwarzenegger. Just playing, but he great dude. Kind of hard to get to know at first. Kind of kept to himself early on, but as he got more and more comfortable, his personality really started to show through. He's a guy that he brought just brute strength to our defense. So the position he plays, playing over a tight end, you got to have that strength and attitude to get down and dirty on the line of scrimmage. One of those guys that the young guys always looked up to and wanted to be like him. His attitude in the weight room is second to none. He would lift at football, and then he'd send me a Snapchat or something of him working out again. Always putting his his fitness and doing what's right for his body first. It's again just another guy that was just a pleasure to coach. And if we have more guys like Haji on our defense, we're going to be better off for it. Lastly, I'm claiming this guy. Coach Klotz will probably try to say he's an offensive player too, but we all know that's not the case. Nadog, the fact that I joke saying that he's not an offensive player, but he's a Swiss Army knife of our defense, of our team, really playing some tight end, playing inside linebacker, playing outside linebacker, wherever it was that we needed Og to fill in. He was intelligent, picking things up quickly, playing hard. It just, again, another one of those guys that when push comes to shove, if outside, when Fulton got banged up and we moved Og inside or outside, wherever we needed, even if it wasn't necessarily his best spot, or he might have been playing a little bit out of position, he did it, and he did it to the best of his ability. And that, again, that speaks to his intelligence and his want to and his team first attitude. I say, this group of seniors, I'm really thankful that I got to be a part of their senior year. When it comes to the JV defensive MVP, that would be Jared Richmond. So that I'm sure Jared already got his award. He plays hard, plays fast, and I think he has a nose for the football. He's not anywhere close to the biggest guy on the field, but he really good tackler, and again, one of those guys that has a desire to get better. Coaches are already in talks this offseason of trying to figure out a place to utilize his strengths, because he's a guy that could definitely help us next year. He's a high character kid that wants to do well for himself and his team. But I'm really excited about Jared, about his future in this program and everything he brings to the table for us defensively. All right, so my last portion of this virtual meeting is the defensive MVP. This guy, I've said it to our coaching staff and anybody that'll listen. If we had 11 of him, we'd be all right. He plays D line, but he's undersized. To be honest, he'd be undersized playing linebacker. But Coach Lewis has a saying, and I'm stealing it for the rest of my coaching career: fire and desire. And he epitomizes that. When he plays football, he looks like the Tasmanian devil out there. I've seen on film, there's plays where he gets knocked down on the other side of the field, gets up, hurdles another guy, sprints all the way across the field, and makes a play on a ball carrier. The effort that he plays with is unmatched by anyone that I've coached, and just his desire to get to the ball is unbelievable. I question whether he ever gets tired occasionally. He's a hard worker in the weight room. From what I understand, in the past, he wasn't he worked really hard this offseason to get stronger, knowing that he might be asked to play D-line. This is his first year first year doing it, and that work that he put in really paid off. Without further ado, defensive MVP, Gabe Byrne. It's no secret he was the highest point scorer on our defense. We have a grading chart, and it's all a point system. Obviously, you get positive for doing good things, and you can get negative for a missed assignment or missed tackle or whatever. And he was far and away the highest scorer, and a lot of that just has to do with the energy that he plays with. Stats. Gabe finished the season with 30 tackles, solo tackles, 6 assists, 8 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles. At playing a 4 technique in the GMC at 185 pounds. He again the energy and effort that he played with is unmatched. Played all 9 games. Got definitely fought through injury. Was banged up. Kept fighting. Kept going. Took my whining and complaining when he wasn't doing things right, and applied it and got better each and every week. He's as I can't say enough about Gabe. He was a pleasure to coach, and coaching kids like Gabe Byrne is the reason I came to Oak Hills.
Good evening. My name is Jason Lewis, and I had the honor of coaching the defensive line this year. First, I'd like to thank Coach Roden for the opportunity to be on his staff. Second, I'd like to thank the athletic department for everything that they do. Our defensive line did an outstanding job this year. I couldn't be more proud of them. We were never the biggest, strongest guy, but we were the hardest working on that field. I'm excited to see the growth of the underclassmen and sad to see the upperclassmen go. Up first, our sophomores, Dylan Marshall and Trevor King. Our juniors, Jackson Weller, Evan Mucci, Hayden Kostopoulos, Micah Hicks, Jacob Hearn, and DJ Armfield. Next up, our seniors. Again, going to be hard to let these guys go. First up, Matthew Martin, a defensive tackle for us. Dominic Bierman played defensive tackles as well as nose. Sam Johnson, a nose guard as well as defensive tackle. And Gabe Byrne, also a tackle. These guys did everything that was asked. I appreciate your efforts and looking forward to your future success.
Just kind of want to piggyback off what Coach Lewis was saying about our senior D lineman. Matthew Martin is a guy that another one of the guys that myself and Coach Klotz were always kind of battling over, trying to play. He played tight end for us and defensive tackle, a big athletic, strong kid. That when push came to shove, if we had needed a critical stop or it was a critical down on defense, he was a guy that we wanted in the game. He's a guy that towards the end of the season was playing his best ball for us defensively, and we really missed him in our last game of the year when he got banged up a little bit. But again, a great player. Gonna really miss coaching Matthew on a daily basis. Yeah. And next up, we got Sam Johnson. Sam Johnson played O-line for the majority of the season. Then we kind of stole him a little bit. We needed a little more size and strength on the defensive line. I think it was a great move for him, great fit. Personality-wise, he fits in, I think, on defense better than offense. He's always been kind of a defensive guy, in my opinion. He came right over, stepped right in, picked up everything real quick, and got out there on the field and gave us some brute strength and attitude that we were kind of missing before we made that move. But couldn't be happier to have had the opportunity to steal one of the offensive linemen over and have him be a contributor for us so quickly and him play effectively for us defensively. Next up, we have Dom Bierman. Dom Bierman, like Coach Lewis mentioned, we weren't ever the biggest or strongest line on the field at any given time, but he whatever was asked of him, he did. It wasn't about statistics with him. It was about doing what the team needed to do to be successful. The thing that stands out to me about Dom from his senior year is when we asked him to line up against the big D1 tackle from Mason that's going to Kentucky, and his only job was to occupy him. He knew that he wasn't gonna, make a bunch of tackles or have a bunch of sacks, or it wasn't going to show up in the stat sheet. But if he could take that tackle and occupy him 1-for-1, so he couldn't move up to our linebackers or double team on anybody else, that was going to give us the best chance to win. And Dom did that all game long against a guy that probably outweighed him by 100 pounds. It was really, really cool to see. And he gave us a chance when he was doing that, and it was, he took pride in that. And last, Gabe Byrne. I'll have a little bit more to say about him later, but his energy and effort and just flying around was fun to watch day in and day out. Just the hair on fire way that he played football is really enjoyable. But I'm not going to say too much about Gabe right here because I'll be talking about him a little later on.
Hey guys, first off, before I get into the defensive backs, I just want to congratulate you on navigating this interesting year. There was a lot of hoops, a lot of different things we had to go through, and the adversity never stopped us. So congratulations on making it through this year, just with everything we had to do. It's awesome we were able to get it in, especially for these seniors. The sophomores this year, defensive backs, Brady LaGreca, Andre Sy, Freddie Talarigo, Brody Tu, and Caleb Violet. Great years for those young guys. Expect them to do a lot of things moving up here next year and year after that as well. Juniors, Isaiah Glines and Ian Schaefer. The seniors, Nash Cooper. Tremendous growth, especially since last year that I've seen him with our offseason. Helped out tremendously in many ways, especially within special teams. We could really tell a difference once he went down in Middletown, and we were really kind of left without that guy in the center that we needed for our long snap and short snap. So huge loss for us there. But again, tremendous growth from junior to senior year. Next guy up, Logan Heyman, very special athlete, outstanding work ethic. Really excited that we got him from that other school on the west side. Was a force in all aspects, special teams, offensively, defensively. True role model for all the athletes within this program, does everything the right way, really high character, really bought in. And I really hope guys can buy into what he did this year and kind of take that on as leaders for next year as well. Next guy up is Noah Goddard. Noah's shown flashes of greatness really since his sophomore year. There were times that he was pushing to start as a sophomore. He's had some adversity along the way, Got in a car crash, kind of mentally trying to see where he was on the football field, but he really overcame that and turned into a true leader this year. He's one guy that I can really say week in and week out, we're like, man, we got to make sure he's on the field. We got to make sure he's out there leading, communicating with everybody. He took it over, and it was awesome to see. And the last senior, defensive back wise, was Eli Weitzel. Incredible athlete. It was rough not having him at all last year. Went through some things, had an injury towards the end of the year, so it was hard to get him back. But very selfless, would play any position. I know he loves playing defensive back, but he wanted to help out the team in any way possible. And really, as a whole, this whole group, very selfless, just wants to get on the field. And I really hope that kind of takes over for the entire team, and we continue to push forward and continue building this brand of Oak Hills so we can take it on to that next level. So congratulations, guys, again, and I can't wait to see what you do in the future.
Good evening, Highlanders, and welcome to our 2020 virtual offensive season overview. I am very proud of the effort the Highlanders gave this season. The 2020 Highlanders undertook the task of transitioning to a very new and complicated offense in a year of a pandemic. Our offense demands a great deal of time and effort to study and grasp the material. We set high expectations and demanded more from these players. They rose to the challenge. We began offensive installs in the winter through class meetings, which later would become Zoom meetings. As the season progressed, so did our offense. We had a mix of seniors, juniors, sophomores that even contributed. Our offense has a chance to be special in the future because we did play quite a few younger kids. I am very grateful for the senior class because of the way they handled the coaching change. They bought into our offensive system and our culture. The new staff came with it. They accepted me and did a wonderful job setting the foundation for years to come. At the quarterback position, we had a player in Devin Holt who was a very explosive player for us and a dynamic athlete. Devin was up for the Player of the Week multiple times. He was captain and earned all conference honors. His skills shine bright this year in our offense. At the tight end position, we had two seniors that really raised the standard for that position. Our offense works best when we have two tight ends who can catch and block, and Matthew Martin and Nate Ogg did both. Matthew Martin earned all city honors. Our running back room was incredibly selfless. All three seniors, Pat Gibbons, Steve Watson, and Tucker Becknell, understood their role and made the best of their opportunities. Steve and Pat dedicated 4 years to their program and were model citizens when it comes to our culture and what we're trying to establish offensively. On the offensive line, Jaden Bodie, Connor Billings, Trey Simeon, and Patrick Trilling were a very close group who worked their tail off to improve every day and solidify our offensive line. Our receiver group produced some very explosive plays throughout the course of the season. It was headed by Logan Heyman, who was a very dynamic player in our offense and a guy we really relied on. Logan received honorable mention all Southwest Ohio. Aiden Keith, Robbie Fancher were great teammates and really learned how to play the wide receiver position. Robbie Fancher did a great job mentoring the younger receivers. At this time, I'd like to highlight our offensive accomplishments. In 2020, we showed a lot of growth and progress throughout the season. In regards to passing, we were 106 for 195 and threw for over 1,200 yards. We had a completion percentage of 55%. We threw for 889 more yards than the previous season and improved the completion percentage by 27 points. In 2020, we rushed for 237 attempts, 1,150 yards with an average of 4.8 yards per carry. Our receiving statistics were 106 receptions for over 1,200 yards with an 11.9 average per catch. Our 2020 scoring statistics with 23 touchdowns, 11 pass, and 11 rush, as opposed to 2009 with 8 touchdowns. We had a top 5 passer in the conference. We had a top receiver in the conference. We had a receiver that was first in the GMC in receptions and second in GMC for yards. Before we conclude this segment, I would like to lastly thank, again, the following seniors for their commitment to Oak Hills: Devin Holt, Connor Billings, Logan Heyman, Jaden Bodie, Robbie Fancher, Steve Watson, Matt Gibbons, Trey Simeon, Matthew Martin, Nate Ogg, Aiden Keith, Patrick Twilling, and Tucker Becknell. We appreciate all the commitment you made to Oak Hills, the program, and leaving it in a better place than you found it. I'm extremely grateful and honored to be your offensive coordinator here at Oak Hills High School. I thank you, and I look very much forward to the growth and the success of our offense moving forward. Have a wonderful night. The next award is known as the Highlander Award. The Highlander Award goes to a player that demonstrates excellence in the classroom and on the football field. The recipient of this award must be a model student athlete for the entire Oak Hills community. I would like to proudly present the 2020 Highlander Award to senior receiver DB Logan Heyman. While Logan had a great season on the field playing both ways, leading the conference as a receiver and earning the end of season honors, there is much more to Logan. Logan was a tremendous teammate. He was a team captain and led his teammates through action, not just words. One of Logan's best attributes is his ability to raise the performance of those around him and demand his teammates give their best effort. When you're trying to change a program to instill a winning mindset, it helps immensely when you have players like Logan. He was committed to himself, to his academics, athletics, and servitude that will prepare him greatly in the future. He represents all that's good in Oak Hills community. We were fortunate to have him in our program. I only wish we could have coached him longer. Thank you for the tireless dedication to the Oak Hills football program. I look forward to following your future success and best wishes moving forward.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Here we are for our 2021 Oak Hills Highlander Football Virtual Banquet. I'm going to discuss our running backs. For the sophomores and juniors, basically the big thing for you guys had a good year. It was a good start. I know new offense, new coordinators, new coaches, even with our one lone junior getting, moved and changing positions. It was a huge learning curve for you guys. Thank you all for all the time and work and effort you put into this. You guys need to get better. We need to spend more time in the weight room. We need to learn our playbook. We need to work hard for everything going, moving forward. The older guys, the seniors, they did a heck of a job setting a very high bar, very high expectation for who we are as a run game on the offensive side of the ball. So I would love for you guys to kind of pick up where they left off. Got to be dedicated, got to be committed, got to work on all the little things. Like I said, you got to put in the extra time. You got to be very coachable. You need to make sure that you're coming to every single weight session, speed session, everything that we have. Take it upon yourself to do those little things. Go out, even in the backyard, come to the field, with some of your buddies and go through routes, go through handoffs, go through, your courses for inside zone, outside zone, those kinds of things. So just continue to get better every day, strive to get better every day. If you have questions with anything, feel free to ask Coach Klotz. Now I'm going to address our 3 seniors. First, Tuck. Tucker Becknell came to us this year, never having played football at Oak Hills, decided to come out his senior season. Tuck was a very hard worker for us. Tuck was a guy that, he just had fun out there. We'd move Tuck around on, scout team. We'd get him, some reps on, offense when we could. Tuck even got, his carry against Harrison, which I think is still for a positive gain. I don't care what the stats say. Tuck was a very passionate kid. He cared a lot about the program, cared a lot about the teammates. I wish Tuck would have played all 4 years. We really could have seen what he would have done. But Tuck, thank you for your time, your commitment, and everything that you did for us. Now I'm going to talk about the two-headed monster, Stevie Watson and Pat Gibbons. It's really hard to talk about one without talking about the other because that's the way they played. They are two of the most selfless individuals that I've ever had the pleasure of coaching. They were each other's biggest fans. They were constantly rooting each other on. Whenever one was in, the other was trying to learn up, help him up, coach him up. And it was great just having, these two guys there. Looking at things, we would alternate series, and then some guy would say, leave him in. He's got the hot hand, or, coach, he's seen it. He's hitting it better than I am. So the ability of these two guys to be interchangeable was phenomenal. Steve, I know you were asked even to play some slot for us. We did some different things for you also. Your versatility will definitely be missed next year. But you two are two of the hardest working guys that I've had the pleasure of coaching. Coming into the season, I know, Pat, there was a lot of questions about, what were you going to be able to do for us? We know in the past, you'd have a great camp, then you'd get into the season, or we get put pads on, and you had, some fumble issues. But then coming in the summer, seeing you stay after practice, work catch pass with Coach Klotz, work on everything, ask questions. You had a heck of a comeback. I honestly nominated you for most improved player, just seeing the difference you had from junior year to this year. Last year at the end of the season, I wasn't sure if you could be the guy. But I'm very, very glad you proved me wrong. Your dedication, your commitment, you learned the playbook, you knew what you were doing, you hit the ball hard, you ran hard, you figured out who you were as a runner this year. And Pat, I am very grateful that you developed into the athlete you were. Stevie, you're a wild man. Watching you run and make cuts, and you're all over the place. You are a hard downhill runner. You do everything that we ask you to. Pat, you do everything we ask you to. You two guys, looking at your stats, Steve, you had 45 carries. Pat, you had 40 carries. So, like I said, I'm very honored, very proud, very privileged to have had the opportunity to coach both of you. You both have a bright, future ahead of you. Don't be strangers. If you guys need anything from us throughout the course of the year, after graduation, we will be here for you. Thank you for leaving your legacy. Thank you for committing, the time, the effort, the dedication to helping Oak Hills football get where it needs to be. You guys will always be able to say that you were the cornerstone. You were the foundation. You were the grunts that, got us to where we are here in a few years once things get rolling. So, gentlemen, I hope, you have nothing but success in your lives. I wish you the best of luck. And if you need anything, you know where we are. All right, Highlanders, here we are for our 2021 virtual banquet. Coach Wallace and I are here. We are going to discuss the wide receivers, your performance this year. Coach Wallace is going to speak briefly about the sophomore and junior class collectively, and then we are going to address the 3 seniors that we have and talk a little bit about what they meant to us as coaches and to the program and things we see going further. So I'm going to let Coach Wallace talk about the sophomore and junior classes.
Hey everyone, our sophomore and junior classes, a wide receiver, we couldn't ask for a better group of young men learning a new offense. They came every day, they put the work in, they asked questions, they got better, they're going to continue to get better. We had a lot of guys that had never played some of the roles they had played before. They didn't complain, they did what was asked, they worked hard at it. They had a great year, and we look forward to another great offseason and a great year next year with them as well. With our outgoing senior class, we had 3 wide receivers this year. First off, Aiden Keith. Mr. Keith, this was his first year with us. I have not played before in high school. He was a tremendous player for us. He picked it up really well. He was really talented. He was a great kid. He was very, very coachable. I wish we had him a few more years. He excelled in everything that we did as far as learning the playbook, asking questions, being a team player, and trying to be a role model for the younger kids. Next up, Mr. Seiler is going to talk about Robbie Fancher.
So as you can see over my shoulder, Robbie Fancher, number one in our hearts, number one on the field. Bobby's hanging up behind me. I've had the pleasure of not only, coaching Bobby, but I've also had him in class. Great young man, just like Coach Wallace said, a lot of the same attributes that Aiden Keith has. Robbie's a really hardworking kid. Robbie's very selfless. Robbie would do anything that we asked him to. Robbie knew what he was doing on offense. Pretty much every play, he was definitely a go-to guy in terms of the scheme of things. I wish, like Coach Wall said, that we had him for another year. I wish Robbie would have ran track, get him a little faster. But Robbie was a great kid that would do anything for you. Put in the work, was here every day. Definitely a guy that was committed to the program. We definitely wish we had more guys like Robbie, guys that are truly what the Highlander mentality are. Robbie was, moved around, but he studied. He knew his playbook inside and out. He knew what he was doing. Robbie, we're definitely going to miss you. I know that, you're hanging your hat on your JV touchdowns. And when we put you in there on Fridays, you didn't get a whole lot of reps, but we're very, very happy with the effort you gave us. Last and certainly not least, Coach Wallace is going to start talking about Mr. Logan Heyman.
Logan is a player that any team in America would love to have 10 or 20 of them. He is a role model for everybody on our team as far as work ethic goes. He portrays his personality on the field, the way he leads our other players, and in times where he's not being very vocal, he just lets his play do the talking. He doesn't take plays off. He is always striving to get better. He's always asking questions and trying to understand what he can do to get better. And, his numbers have proven that over the last few years. What he is leaving as his legacy at Oak Hills. Like I said, and everybody will agree, we wish we had more players like Logan. We were fortunate to have him for 2 years. Wish it could have been more, but we'll take those 2 years. Mr. Seiler, what do you got?
So, and also, like Coach Wall said, Logan being third in the GMC for receptions. Logan, we'd also be remiss if we didn't talk about, the fact that he was able to do the things he was for us on offense while he was playing defense as well. Logan was, obviously a two-way guy. I'm sure that, the defense is going to have tremendous things to say about him. Obviously, we have tremendous things to say about you. Your character, your play, your football IQ is extremely high. Some of the questions that you would ask us, you would ask Coach Klotz. You can tell they're the next level things to think of, or your understanding of the game is phenomenal and second to none. You have a very bright athletic future ahead of you, a very bright academic future ahead of you. Like Coach Wallace said, I wish we would have had you for 4 years instead of 2, but we are very, very appreciative of the 2 that we did have, with you. So, gentlemen, we hope you've had as much fun playing for us as we have coaching you. You 3 guys will be greatly missed. I think that, if we would have had this offense last year, or even if you could come back next year, all of you would thrive again or even more. I think this offense definitely fits who we are, who you 3 gentlemen are, and who the younger classmen guys are. So we're looking forward to the younger guys, the juniors and the sophomores getting better. You gotta stay hungry. You can't give anything up. Ask the older guys, and for as crazy as 2020 season was with COVID and everything else, I truly feel like these 3 guys, left it all on the field, no regrets, and they were able to, be thankful for every snap, every rep, every practice, and they did things the right way. So you 3 gentlemen have definitely left your legacy, not only for Oak Hills Highlander football program, who we are moving forward, but you 3 guys will definitely be remembered by myself, Coach Wallace, and the entire Oak Hills staff. So we thank you tremendously for everything you've done for us. We wish you all nothing but the best in your futures. And if you have any questions, or if you need anything going forward, you know how to get a hold of us. So, Coach Wallace, any closing remarks from you?
No, like I said, we'll miss you, and but your legacy will live on with the players coming behind you, that trying to follow the role that you put forth for them to follow. So we'll miss you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Have a great day. Like I said, where we are. Don't be strangers.
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. This is Coach Wallace here to talk to you about the tight end position. I know in recent seasons the tight ends have not been used a whole lot, but they are a big part of what we want to do moving forward offensively here at Oak Hills High School. We were fortunate enough to have a group of 5 outstanding young men play this position for us this past season. 2 will be graduating and 3 will be returning next year. Our 3 returning players for next year are junior Trey Sedlak, sophomore Nathan Fulton, and sophomore Kate Earhart. All 3 had tremendous seasons. They learned a lot, and we look forward to having them back next year. Our 2 graduating seniors are Nate Ogg and Matthew Martin. Learning a new offense any year is difficult in football, but to learn a new offense in a new position in the same year, going into your senior year, is even more difficult. I could not have asked for anything more out of any one of them than what they gave us this year, other than wishing we had another year or 2 together. Matthew Martin was named All-City as a tight end. Both played both offense and defense for us this year. They are both multi-sport athletes here at Oak Hills High School. Both are great leaders on and off the field. They both are hard workers. I'm going to miss them dearly. I hope they had as much fun playing this year as I enjoyed coaching them. I hope they get the opportunity to play at the next level, given the right opportunity. I believe both of them can play at the next level. They are going to be missed a lot by me and their teammates, and I wish them nothing but the best. It was a great season, and I hope they stick around and don't be strangers. And that is it for the tight ends.
Hello, this is quarterback coach Bob Klotz the Elder, talking about the quarterbacks of the 2020 football season. This was an exciting year on many levels for us as we implemented a new and exciting offense, and I was blessed to get to work with several really talented young men. I think the future is bright. We had 2 sophomores, both very talented young men, Jackson Schreiber and Parker Smith. But the person that we're really here to talk about was our senior captain, quarterback and running back, Devin Holt, who is one of the most dynamic players that we have had in my 40 years in and around Oak Hills football. Devin is a quarterback, embraced the opportunity to lead, demonstrated his ability to be a multifaceted quarterback. He could both throw the ball and run, and was a big play guy for us all year. He demonstrated also an ability to make big plays. We frequently talked with him in film study, which he wholeheartedly bought into and worked hard at learning a new offense in the offseason and during the season. But probably the best play, as I told him every week in our offense, was any time he took the ball as the play broke down, as scripted, and made something happen with his scrambling to run or scrambling to throw. I think in Devin's case, whether he decides to play in college or not, I hope he does, because I think his future is very bright at both quarterback or running back, slot receiver, whatever he decides to do. He has a very high ceiling as a football player. Congratulations, Devin, for all the good things you did for us this year. As a quarterback, you were a second-team all-GMC player and represented the Highlanders really, really well. Thank you. Now, it's my great honor as the quarterback coach to talk about our most valuable player. And our most valuable player this year was our quarterback running back, Devin Holt, who is, in my view, one of the most dynamic players that we've been blessed with at Oak Hills High School in the last 40 years. I don't know that very, very many people in the history of our school actually have been blessed with the combination of great speed and dynamic ability to cut and change directions, which enabled him to have tremendous explosive plays in our offense at both quarterback and wide receiver and running back. Just to give you an idea of how diverse Devin was on the football field, he was our leading passer, throwing for over 640 yards, completing 50% of his balls and 7 touchdowns with a 2-to-1 ratio, which is good for touchdowns to interceptions. He averaged 16.4 yards receiving. One included was a 77-yard touchdown catch and run. And then as a runner, he was our leading rusher as well. He rushed for over 770 yards, which would have easily made it over 1,000 yards in 9 games had he not had so many of his runs called back. He had a long run of 69 that counted. He had 2 other runs that were longer than that were sadly called back. So Devin generated a significant amount of offense for the Highlanders in the 2020 season. He was our leading scorer, our leading rusher, our leading passer, and he even had time to punt the ball 4 different times. So for all of those things, plus his being selected captain, he was chosen by the team as the 2020 football season's most valuable player. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Coach Smith. Had the pleasure of coaching the offensive line this year, along with Coach Mybers and Coach Dahl. I would like to start by thanking them for all their hard work. They taught me a lot as a first-year coach, and I really enjoyed working with them, as well as every other coach on staff. And then these players, this will forever be a group that I'll remember as a first-year coach. Had a lot of great guys that worked really hard, bought in, did things the right way in order for us to progress each and every week, each and every day, to get to where we want to be and to be a good football team. I would like to start by acknowledging our underclassmen, our sophomores. We had Tanner Combs, Jeremy Connors, Trexler Cook, Beef McMasters, and RJ Miller. Our juniors, we had John Clyer, Dominic Moore, and Jordan Schumacher. And now for these seniors, this is going to be a special group for me as the first group of seniors that I ever had. You know, they took up the bulk of the line, and they were a lot of fun to work with. We'll start with number 73, Connor Billings. Connor played the majority of the year at right guard for us, got moved around a little bit. But Connor's an extremely hard worker, great kid. I know he's going to be successful wherever he goes, whatever he does. He's a joy to work with, and I'm really thankful that I got to have him in my first year as a coach. Next, number 58, Jaden Bodie. Jaden started every game at right tackle for us. He's a great kid. He was a lot of fun to be around. Jaden is really tough. He's got the nastiness that you can't teach in a lot of kids. And I really appreciate all the work that he put into this year. And I can't wait to see what he does next. Next, we have number 54, Sam Johnson. Sam started at some tackle, then moved to guard, and then ended up switching to defense before the end of the year. So it was hard to let him go. He's another really hard worker. He's a great kid. I really love to work with him. I know that he's going to be successful in whatever he does as well. He's kind of a guy who's when he puts his mind to something, he's gonna be really good at it. So I really appreciate you, Sam, and all the work that you did for us this year. Next up is number 71, Trey Simeon. Trey Simeon is he's a guy who he would do anything I asked him to do. He was a pleasure to work with in my first year. Trey's a guy who he kind of moved around from side to side at guard, and he never complained about it once. And that's one thing that I really appreciate about him. And that's what high school football is supposed to be about. And I think he really took advantage of every opportunity that he got, and I appreciate him and all of his hard work. Finally, we have number 75, Patrick Twilling. Patrick Twilling played the swing tackle for us. He had to learn both sides of the ball, both sides of the offensive line. He's a great kid, very well spoken. He's a very smart kid. I know he's going to be great in anything that he does. He was a kid who he really caught on to the things that we were teaching very fast. And I'm really glad that I got to work with him. He was a vocal leader and did a lot of great things. And any opportunity he got, no matter what it was, on the field, off the field, anything we did, he did it very well. And we appreciate all of his hard work. Finally, I'm going to present our Most Improved Award for the team, and that goes to our guard, Connor Billings. Connor Billings did a great job coming in, taking all the new coaching he got, all the new techniques, learning a new position, and he did fantastic for us. So, Connor, thank you for your hard work, and congratulations. To kind of sum things up, again, this is a great group that will forever be special to me as a first group that I got to coach. And I know that these guys have a lot of good things in store for them in their future, both seniors and underclassmen with the years they have left playing. So thank you, and go Highlanders.
Hi, I'm Joe Vogelsang. I'm here to talk about the Oak Hills freshman football season for 2020. First of all, I want to say a couple thank yous to number one, Coach Roden, for giving me the opportunity to coach this season. People in the administrative office, Mr. Hageman, Mr. Prosser, Mrs. Swanger, thanks for all your help and support and answering all the questions that I needed answered throughout the season, dealing with various issues and COVID protocols and everything that goes into running a football program. So thank you for answering all those questions. My assistant coaches, Coach Badinghouse, Coach Nichols, Coach Heyman, and Coach Burke, thank you for your time and efforts and making these boys better football players as well as better people as they move on and move forward into their sophomore years. I'd like to thank Mr. Badinghouse's wife, Ann Cassidy, for taking time out of her schedule each week to videotape our games so we could review them and get better as a team. Appreciate all that time and effort you put in for that. And parents, thank you for your flexibility with this season. It was a tough season to go through with all that was going on with the virus and other stuff going on, but there were some changes to the schedules, additions, and thank you for helping us make the most out of this season. Looking at the season overview, first of all, looking back to 8th grade, this class, there was a lot of question marks coming into the season as we had numerous kids opt to go to other schools. And we had a lot of kids that did not play either 7th or 8th grade and were coming in and hadn't played football in quite a while. So we had to have some people step up, take bigger roles this year, and we, wins and losses, that's okay. We were 3-7, but the kids improved as the season went along and gained some valuable experience moving forward. A couple highlights, a couple of those wins, 2 of the wins were by shutout, which is always a very positive thing and a thing we can look back on and say that, there's potential there to do some great things, and we just got to keep it moving forward. There were 3 other games where we felt we were more competitive in than the others. And a couple of them we felt we had a good shot to win if we had a couple breaks fall our way. The Coleraine game and the Lakota West and the Lakota East games were games that we were right there. We had our chances and just fell a little bit short, but those are also positives that we can build upon moving forward. A couple things I wanted, and Coach Roden wanted to make be constants as we move into our sophomore year, is the watching film and how to watch film and how to critique yourself and how to make improvements by watching yourself play. That is critical moving forward. You'll get to watch an awful lot of film the next 3 years to improve and maybe even pick out some weaknesses of your opponents on Friday nights and take advantage of those. So that was big, getting that implemented, watching film every week after we played. And then obviously the weight room, we lifted weights at least 2 times a week as part of practice, and we have to get bigger, faster, and stronger moving forward so we can build on our successes. At this time, I'm going to do a roll call of the roster, and then after that, I'm going to go into the awards. This year's roster, I'm just going to go alphabetically down the list. Here they are: Heath Anderson, Caleb Baldwin, Isaiah Burning, John Blevins, Jimmy Breeze, Zach Brooks, Jeremiah Bryan, Caden Kramer, Will Davis, Josh Glover, AJ Hartness, Justin Kesson, Nick Lawson, Austin Lawwill, Marquez Lewis, Joey Martin, Owen McChristian, DeMar Parker Jr., Sam Perry, Daniel Pope, Noah Rackley, Ethan Ritter, Hunter Stevens, Brandon Stidham, Bobby Stidham, Todd Warner, Austin West, Aiden Whitaker, Logan Wilworth, and Jacob Young. That was the roster. I think it was 30 or 31 guys, and moving forward, I would hope that all these guys decide to stick with it and put the time in that they've already begun and move into their sophomore year with a desire to play football. I want to do a special mention of 4 individuals that stand out on this freshman team because of one thing only, and it was perfect attendance. They did not miss one practice or one game. So I want to make special mention of these 4 guys, and they are Jimmy Breeze, John Blevins, Ethan Ritter, and Josh Glover. That's an outstanding achievement, and moving forward, I hope that continues, and hopefully we can get more of the boys to get to that level. We have 4 awards we're going to announce for tonight, the freshman squad, and here they are. The offensive MVP is going to be Todd Warner. The defensive MVP, DeMar Parker Jr. Most improved, Ethan Ritter. And the Highlander Award is going to go to Jimmy Breeze. Congratulations to you guys on those awards. And then the final comments for the 2020 season. Number one, have a great off season. Get to the workouts. Don't make any excuses for missing. Okay, make yourself a better player, a better person, a better student. And then I look forward to seeing you grow and mature as, like I said before, we all want you guys to be a varsity football player at some point in your career. So hopefully you have the will and the dedication to make that happen. So have a great off season, and I'll see you next fall. Thank you.
Okay, guys. So we have come to the last portion of our virtual banquet. As you've seen from our coaches, not everybody is the best at talking to a computer screen, and not everybody is, a standout when it comes to doing these. But I will say that all of the coaches truly, have put a lot of time in this and tried to come up with the right words. And, I will say this very proudly that I believe our coaches really do care about our kids. I think that's something that as a head coach, I take a great deal of pride in. And, as we're trying to encourage, future Highlanders to be a part of this program in the future, one of the things that we really are, I don't know, promoting or advertising or kind of highlighting is the fact that, if you come here, we do care about you. And we're going to continue to, grow as a program and as a family, and continue to have this program grow in the right direction. That segue leads us to this year's seniors. The class of 2021 is always going to be very special to me because it's, the first class I had here as the head coach at Oak Hills. And, I didn't have them, for 4 years. I didn't have that relationship building, starting in the elementary and the middle school, which, to pick up during a pandemic and to jump in and try to get these young men to trust me is a challenge. And I will tell you that this group has been through the ringer. It's hard to, not win on Friday nights and continue to fight and battle and stay the course, and then, change head coaches and then be separated from the weight room and all of these, COVID protocols, which, make football, I need a word besides challenge, make it something that just kind of takes away from the overall experience. And these seniors really did a great job. I mean, you can see that in the simple things like, the locker room changing. Our locker room was clean after every Friday night. The kids had their helmets and, things displayed in the locker room as I asked for. The young men were asked to wear black shorts on, Thursdays, simply because we're trying to do more things as a team, and things like wearing the same kind of cleats. And, I'm not going to say we didn't have our hiccups, and I'm not going to say, certain kids weren't kids and, forgot or push buttons. But this class, for the most part, was fantastic. And I mean that sincerely. They really did a great job of buying in and wanting to be successful. And you really saw that with the last 3 games where, we got a chance to play some people that were, I'm not going to, honor levels, maybe not is the right way to say that, but teams that, were on a level with us that are, on a playing field of trying to establish their programs. And, we did a great job, really just, finding a way to win those games. And I think a lot of people have joked that, no matter what the school board says, we won that last game. But I was particularly proud of the last game because we were, we had lost more players and COVID had taken its part, and we still, almost found a way to win. And, for us to close it out, winning 2 of the last 3 was really important. And I also don't want to take away from the other, first, 6 games of the season, because there were some really good things along the way in those games. The Coleraine game is one in particular where you look back and, there's a play here, there's a play there where, if we make it, that game is different. I mean, and we're competing with somebody that honestly has just kind of, since 1993, has just wreaked havoc upon, this program. And to say that we're capable of competing with them there's a lot of value to that. Now, moving forward, you also see that when injuries do take place in our program and we lose some people, that, we kind of fall off into a level that can, frankly, make it, Friday nights unfair. When we played Princeton this year, we had injuries that just had decimated our football team, and COVID had also gone full cycle. And frankly, I'm gonna be honest with you, we could have been the best coaches on the planet, and the young men that we had that night, honestly, I'm not sure we could have found a way to win that game. And so for us, moving forward, we've got to, as a total program, we've got to get stronger. We've got to find a way to value the weight room in a way that we haven't valued it before. And I'm not saying we haven't wanted to lift, but we've got to, have a mission that we're going to get bigger and get stronger. And what we lack in athleticism, we'll make up with toughness and physicality and persistence. And I think, again, this group of seniors really did a great job with that. And, I can't thank them enough for their efforts, their loyalty. I want to tell them that I will, like every class that I've had a chance to be a head coach for, that I always take a great deal of pleasure in seeing them become men and go to school or get married and have children of their own and be successful from those areas. Much more joy for me in those areas of seeing them succeed than the football field. I want them to play college football, but let's be honest, at the end of the day, it's about, the brand that we're trying to establish, and that's becoming, better young men and better fathers and better husbands. So this group, I feel really confident that they've laid the foundation for these younger generations here in the program. And I challenge them to step up like these seniors did and to continue to build the program in a positive direction. And then lastly, I want to thank the parents for your continued support, for still buying in and supporting your kids. It's hard when you don't necessarily see a lot of wins on Friday to think that, is it worth the time away from maybe some of their studies or worth their time away from the family or working to play this game? And I will tell you that the values of being part of a team in football and the experience of high school football outweigh anything that these young men will most likely ever experience. I mean, truthfully, for almost 99% of them, they will never again have, a group of people cheer for them and call out their name, and they won't be heroes for a younger generation. So the experiences of football and a family and the close knit of a large group like this are special. And this group of seniors is definitely that. So that being said, I want to thank all of you again for a great 2020 season and for everything that you've done for this program. I'm always going to be around. If you ever need anything, please don't hesitate, especially with our other coaches. And I wish you guys a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Go Highlanders.